Hello and thank you for watching/listening to the Woodsong podcast. I'm your host, Sam Larson, out here coming to you today from the beautiful woodlands of southeast Nebraska. We're right near a creek here. Beautiful place. The only thing I would do is turn down the volume on the trucks. For some reason, there's crazy traffic today. Anyhow, today we are going to be talking about, this is episode 3 of the Woodsong podcast, so we're talking about, I think this is legitimately episode 7 of our Alone commentary that we're doing. For those of you who don't know, I am Sam Larson. I was on season 1 of Alone, was the runner-up there on Vancouver Island, and I have really just enjoyed season 3. It is so cool. The participants are doing great. I'm super duper proud of them, and I'm just gonna go through, not in any particular order at all, and just talk about them. And I'll end with maybe what we should be ending with. Anyhow, also spoiler alert. People are complaining about spoilers at this time, which I personally don't understand. It's such a first world problem, but if you don't want to get spoiled for episode 7, don't watch this. Simple as that. If you get spoiled like a week after the episode airs, that's really your own fault. Anyhow, I'm going to start talking about Megan. A lot of chit chat I've heard about Megan this week about basically she had a fox that was in her camp picking on her, and foxes are really interesting animals. They're extremely smart, so it's difficult to trap them, even for experienced trappers. They're one animal that not only will notice your smell or notice your trap and go around it, they will also dig up traps. Like, one of the big things with fur trappers is coming up to their traps and seeing where foxes have dug them up and discovered them. So they're not an easy animal to trap. I am going to do something out here in a future video that shows the trap I would do if I was going after those foxes. This isn't a good trapping area, legally, I should say. It's great area for it, actually, but not legally, so I'm not going to leave it up. But her concern, I think, is a little bit valid. But what happens to you at this part of the show where you're super far into things is you get paranoid because you don't want something stupid to take you out. You're so invested in it, you're like, oh, I hope that dumb fox doesn't bite me. But it's a goofy looking fox just playing around her camp, and she sees food basically, and so she's setting traps for it, trying to get a hold of it, and becomes a little bit paranoid about it because it's poking around her place at night. It's really irritating her and poking around her shelter. That was always a thing for me with like bears and stuff. Like, it almost didn't go away until way into the season, but just hearing bears outside poking around, you're just like, don't get curious, don't come in here, please, because it'd just be a hassle. You're not even afraid, you're just like, I don't want the hassle. Anyhow, though, I think I hope she gets the fox. I don't know that she will or not, but she is such a tough gal, and you really have to have a ton of respect for her at this point. I think, unfortunately, we might see her go sometime soon, just because the draw of like a mother to their children is extremely strong, and I didn't really understand that, I guess, until I had kids and saw the bond between my wife and my kid. And I think that it's an extreme, it's not really a disadvantage because you have these beautiful kids to go home to, but it's definitely something that could take you away from the game, because you're saying, okay, there's this really important thing, and I've been away for a long time, and I might need to go see my kids sometime soon. That's the reason Nicole, the other mom, I gave for leaving. And so, if she does, she's got nothing to prove. She's been killing it. So, I mean, we're on 60 plus days at this point. So yeah, Megan's killing it, doing a great job. Moving on, Carly, killing it as well. One of our other ladies. By the way, interesting fact, and lots of interesting facts coming up at this point, lots of like records being set. But Carly, Megan, and Callie, the 3 gals that are left, this is like the first time in the history of Alone where there's been more gals than guys out there. So we're down to Fowler and Dave for the guys, and we're down, by the way, if you want to be good at Alone, name yourself Dave. It helps. But yeah, we've got 3 gals in it, 2 guys, so the gals are outnumbering the guys. 0 females have tapped out in season 3, so this is kind of like the season of the lady, so it's kind of nice, kind of cool to watch. Anyhow, back to the subject. Carly is doing a great job. She is just in her zone, I think. She's living off the land. She's getting the food that she needs. She's being smart. She's coming up with new things to do every day, and she's got a great shelter built. It was really cool to see that deer. It was like ding, 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 the first deer ever seen on a loan, because they didn't see any in Vancouver Island the entire time. First deer seen on a loan, pretty cool. Unfortunately, she cannot eat it. She is a deer hunter back home though, so she'd probably be capable to some extent of getting the deer, just not something that can happen at this point. Sun's moving down. I better speed this up. But again, they don't show very much, Carly, and that's kind of a bummer, but she is doing super good. And I mean, it's hard to say who's gonna last the longest at this point, because they're all doing so well and they're all so accomplished. But I mean, she's killing it as much as anyone out there. Unfortunately, there's not showing too much of her. And honestly, when you don't get shown very much on a loan, it's kind of a good thing, because it means you're not, there's nothing dramatic going on necessarily with you. And so it means she's probably just out there living and having a great adventure. Just a bummer that we don't get to see more of it. Getting food from those fish, foraging still, so killing it in that regard. I'm going to talk a little bit about Callie next. Callie, I believe the youngest gal in the game right now. By the way, I misspoke the last video. We'll clear something up. So Callie and Carly are they're the 2 other people who have made it past day 50, well, and day 60 now, they passed me up, but they have not, they're young, so they're not, I'm saying this really stupid right now, but of the under 40 crowd, they are one of 3 people to have made it so far. That's what I said last episode. Here's the cool thing. I'm gonna have to do some editing, unfortunately. Here's the cool thing about Callie. She is one of 2 20-somethings that are still on right now. So Callie and Carly are the 2, they're in their like mid to late 20s. After me, I was 22 when I was on a loan. They're like 26 and 28 or something like that. I'm probably wrong. But what I said last time was that they were the now 2 more who have been on a loan, made it past day 50, and been under age 40. Usually it's a 40 plus crowd. So until now, it's been a bunch of 40 to 50 plus year olds and me at 22. Now we've got these awesome young folks making it out there past these limits, because guess what? They don't make excuses. They just go out there and they get the job done, and they don't take age into consideration when they think about their capabilities. So I love them. I think they're awesome. There are 2 others actually who are under 40 still, Fowler and spoiler alert, Dan, who tapped out day 51. He also is under age 40. So we added, thanks to season 3, there are now 5 people on the list out of the 30 who have made it past day 50 and are under age 40. Now, if you're not super confused by that, you're not alone. From people who are under age 30 and made it past day 50, you've got me, Callie, and Carly. So I'm really proud of those guys and everyone who's made it past at this point. That's an elite kind of realm when you get to day 50. So good job, ladies. Callie is a freaking punk. I'm just kidding. She's really cool, and she made fun of me this episode, which I like because you know, past doing some unspeakable acts at a convenience store or something, that's the most fame I'm gonna get for like a really, really long time. So thanks for the call out, Callie. Callie got a mouse in her house. They have the hantavirus, which is a pain. Callie made a figure 4 trap, and the good thing about her figure 4 is that it was sensitive enough to catch a mouse. You don't often see that. People who are just starting out with figure 4s, they're not that sensitive, and they lose a lot of bait that way. But Callie's was right on the money, so she got the haunted mouse out of her haunted house with the hantavirus, which is great. She says she's feeling better. She's very, very motivated because she wants to buy her land back home. Totally understand that. Holy cow, that'd be an awesome achievement for her. And she is using the old man's beard she's making tea out of, and then she's making the poultice out of plantain still, and maybe a couple other things, I'm not sure, but plantain, mashing it up, using a little bit of saliva, I think, as well, and getting that right on her rear end. We saw the rear end, I think, at least twice maybe this episode, so, you know, some great TV coming from Callie still. Losing a lot of weight, though, you can tell. You can see all of them at this point. You're seeing that chin all there. See, like all this neck fat that I have, they don't have that anymore. So it's really getting down to the wire. Like, they're losing weight. They are starving Marvin. And when it gets to that point, you know the days are numbered. They might still keep going on, but holy cow, they're not for a whole lot longer. Let's see. Next, let's talk about Fowler. So they showed Fowler around, and I guess the big thing that he did, he's missed his family a lot, which I completely understand. Like, that is a huge driving force, especially you're a dad. So it's different than being a mom by a little bit, but it still really gets to you being a dad. So that's a big struggle for him right now that I can see, at least. But he made a cool little bird trap. Basically made a cage with a trigger underneath it. It's the way I describe it's the closest thing to like your Looney Tunes, you know, pull the stick out from under the bucket type trap. And it's used for birds all over the place. Super effective. As you see, he was able to catch the bird, and he did something really, really smart. He plucked the bird rather than skinning it. So he gets a lot of fat. A lot of the fat in birds is kind of connected like to the skin. And so if you just skin out that bird, you're not doing yourself any good. You want to get as much fat, as many calories out of that bird as possible, and he did an awesome job by plucking rather than skinning. In fact, one outdoor author saw someone skinning a bird rather than plucking, wasting the skin. He called it a sin against the land. Ooh, eerie. So pluck your birds, don't skin them. That's the rule Fowler's given us. Dave is another really, really exciting guy this episode. So Dave is a really, really skinny guy. He was probably the skinniest guy going into this. And so the fact that he's still out there means he has got himself a lot of food over the time being. Not a lot compared to what we have in the quote-unquote real world, which sucks, but he has had enough food to sustain him until this point. He hasn't starved. He's doing well. And he is one of the only folks who brought a bow with him. So not only is he making traps, he is hunting actively for boar with his bow. And I want so badly to see Dave get a boar at this point, or any of them really. I want to see someone get something sizable out there. Patagonia is our first chance in all of Alone to get a sizable animal out there, to trap or hunt a sizable animal. And so I have my fingers crossed for you, even though it's already over, and it doesn't mean anything to cross your fingers at this point. Even though it's already been filmed, I really want Dave to get the boar. And he just has such a good attitude. Like, I've got so much respect for Dave. Just the fact that he's still really, really chipper about things. We do hear him open up a little bit this episode, though. He talks about his birth father. He has a deal with her. His birth father kind of abandoned him at a very young age, and that is really going to get you. Anything deep down in there that you want to hide is going to come out when you've been on Alone for this long. Maybe if you only stay for like 3 or 4 weeks or something like that, it might not come out all the way. But when you're out there for this long, it starts creeping out. But it's good. It's a good thing to see, and it's super, super rewarding just for you as a person to be able to deal with all that stuff deep down there. It's such a cleansing feeling to like confront that stuff and just like be at peace with it. So I hope Dave's able to do that, or if maybe he did right away and it just didn't show him kind of come to fruition. But that's a really special thing about being not just on a television show called Alone, but that's a cool thing about being by yourself in the forest. You get to learn about yourself in a way that you wouldn't be able to in the real world, which isn't that fun. So that's what I think about Dave. Last but not least, all you spoiler folks, here's your big thing you're all worried about here. And Greg did tap out this episode, and I really admired Greg this whole time. He's such a fighter and he's so tough that it was really difficult to see him have to tap out, because he really didn't want to. He was really hoping to like build a house for his daughter and go back home and build a house. That's what his goal was. But in the end, he did the smart thing, which was to tap out, to say, okay, nature got me, rather than to keep fighting and keep in there and do something potentially really, really dumb. He said he was hypothermic, which is easy thing to have happen to you when you're that cold and when you're wet. And he said he was wet. He fell in the water, is what was shown on TV, and he was really, really getting cold, and that's always kind of a bummer. But yeah, it was tough to see him go through that, but in a sense, I think it was a really, really cool thing to go through, because so many people, when they tap out on a loan, they have some other reason for it. Greg just fought, and like the woods knocked him out. So it was super legit. Like, that's so much fun to see. And I feel like when I tapped out, the big reason that I gave, or that was shown on TV, was that I was returning home to see my wife. We were pregnant, and she was in her 3rd trimester, so she was really coming down to the wire. I had to get out of there, but really, I just gotten punched in the face so many times by Mother Nature. She can really be nasty, and it was also this deal where you kind of let yourself get beat down by Mother Nature, and that's where you really learn all these lessons. And Mother Nature definitely beat down Greg pretty hard, and he stuck with it for a really long time. And it's just fun to see someone push themselves as hard as he did. So big ups to Greg. If you want to say something positive about any of the contestants or Greg, please put that in the comments below. Thank you so much again for listening and watching to the Woodsong podcast of Alone, episode 7 of season 3 in Patagonia. We're coming down to the wire. We don't have very much time left in the show. So thanks for watching. Leave those nice comments below. Link to buy the book that I just wrote is down below in the comments. Thank you so much.